I got through 8 books in March. That's my highest monthly count this year, meaning I am way behind my 2023 pace and my 2022 pace. But why? Mostly Malazan, partly Stephen King. So let's see what I plan to do about it this April. Welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where father and son get together and talk about fantasy, science fiction, and other nerdy things that we enjoy. Today, just Jim here for a quick take episode as I'm bringing to you my reading plan for April, and perhaps sharing some books you might find interesting to read as well. If you enjoy this episode, of course, don't forget to like the episode down below, and if you haven't subscribed yet, we hope you will. I was totally hoping to get through 14 books in March. That was the plan. Totally didn't happen. And I think now is the time, after 3 straight months of not hitting my reading target, I should forget about how many books that I'm going to read in a given month. Instead, I should focus simply on enjoying as much as I can. Now, honestly, that is how I always do it. I have not beaten myself up when I fail to make my targets. It's just a fun thing for me to think about. But before anybody feels I'm putting too much pressure on myself, I'm just gonna back off a little bit here. So for April, I'm going to list here in this episode now the next 12 books that I anticipate reading. I am not promising I'll get through all 12 of these in April. I might even go past it, and that'll make a fun episode to do at the end of the month. But who knows? We'll see what I manage to read. But what is the plan, potentially, for April? Let's get into it. First up, I intend to read via audiobook the rest of the Chronicles of Amber by Roger Zelazny. I got the first 2 of these done last month. These were rereads for me from about 40 years ago. I've got 8 more to go in the series. None of these are very long, so I honestly think I can do all of these in the month of April. If successful, that means I'll read the next 3 that are the ones that I read before, way back when there weren't any more books. Those would be Sign of the Unicorn, The Hand of Oberon, and The Courts of Chaos. Now, again, I read them so long ago, I barely remember what happens in these. So it's practically like reading them for the first time. The first 2 books were a wonderful experience. I look forward to moving through these 3. Then I'll move right on to the second 5 books, which again didn't exist when I read the first 5. I'm a completionist. If they were there, I would have read them, but nope. They came out shortly after I finished the first 5. And they are their own separate arc. There's a little time jump between these 2 sets of books, kind of like Brandon Sanderson's doing with the Stormlight Archive, except these are not nearly as long as those books. The 5 that I'll move on to then, this second arc, are Trumps of Doom, Blood of Amber, Sign of Chaos, Night of Shadows, and Prince of Chaos. Again, none of these are overly long by modern fantasy novel standards. The first 5 audiobooks were narrated by Alessandro Giuliani. He's doing an amazing job. I've enjoyed them. I've never read anything that he narrated before, but I would do it again. But the next 5, done a little later, these audiobooks by Will Wheaton, actor and now narrator of many audiobooks that I have already enjoyed, so I definitely look forward to hearing him again. So that's 8 books already. What else will I try to complete? For Kindle reads, let's go with just one book. Because I'm reading Toll the Hounds, Book 8 of Malazan Book of the Fallen. This book has 389,000 words. It is the longest Malazan book. It's up there amongst the lofty, longer fantasy novels that exist. It may take me all month. How does this compare specifically to other big fantasy tomes, you're asking? Or maybe not, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Lord of Chaos, Book 6 of the Wheel of Time, the longest book of those big chunkers, is just 6,000 words longer than Toll the Hounds. So it's in that same ballpark. Brandon Sanderson's Words of Radiance, book 2 of the Stormlight Archive, is just a little bit longer at 400,000 words. Now, books from Terry Brooks, his Shannara cycle, Raymond Feist's Riff War cycle, the books of Sword of Truth by Terry Goodkind. Yeah, none of those clock at more than 300,000 words. They're not in the same ballpark. So yeah, Toll the Hounds, it's a long book. If, on the off chance, I have a great month and I do finish Toll the Hounds, the next Kindle book in the queue is a little self-published sci-fi fantasy romp, Moon Cops on the Moon by C.T. Phipps. That will be quite the change of pace from Malazan. I think it'll be perfect, just what I'll need at that point. Physical books. I do actually intend to finish Duma Key this month. Really, I'm not making promises. You know, I fail. I've broken it so many times, but I'm gonna finish Duma Key. And then I am taking a long break from Stephen King. This one has just wore me down. But once Duma Key is in my rearview mirror, Pete Kramer's Chesapeake Bay Monsters is sitting on my shelf waiting for me to pick it up. This will be another read that is a bit outside my usual style, but I believe it will be quirky and mysterious enough to suck me in. Okay, there you have it. My next 12 intended reads. Will I make it through them all in April? I don't care anymore. I'm hoping so. We'll see what happens, but no pressure. Maybe that's the secret. And this month I'll get through 16 books. All I know is I'm going to have a blast reading whatever I make it through, and I hope you do the same. Again, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.